Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central. Another day, another holla. Hope you're not over there living in squalor. All right, let's get it on today. First and foremost, thing we need y'all to do is to go ahead and give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, give us the old thumbs up. Last but not least, spread the word far and wide. We are here serving the community, bringing you news and views from the dark but not dismal past. That's right. We're bringing you black facts, straight up and down. That's why we call it the dark past. But meanwhile, before we get started, couple things we need y'all to do, or one or two things we need y'all to do. Number one, if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And then, if you would, go ahead and spread the word far and wide what we're doing right over here, because we will not hide. That's right. We're not going to hide our pride. Meanwhile, let's see if we can get this show on the road. See what words of wisdom Mr. Marcus Garvey has to drop on us today. From the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, edited by his second wife. Let's see what he has to say. Okay. The evolutionary scale that weighs nations and races balances alike for all peoples. Hence, we feel sure that someday the balance will register a change for the Negro. A change for the Negro. Now, we've been reading biographical sketches of Marcus Garvey for some amount of time, but we've since the advent of his 134th Earth Day on the 17th, we've switched gears, and what we're now doing is we're just reading his sayings and speeches. And so we're going to continue on. We had started reading a speech yesterday, and this one is entitled An Appeal to the Soul of White America. An Appeal to the Soul of White America. So let's go ahead and pick up where we left off. I'm going to reread just the preceding little paragraph here, and then we'll get into some of the other parts that I didn't read yesterday. And meanwhile, let's get our slideshow operating as well. All right. I'm going to read the title again, too, just for, there we go, sake of clarity. An Appeal to the Soul of White America, written October 2nd, 1923. This is part 2. In another 100 years, white America will have doubled its population. In another 200 years, it will have trebled itself. The keen student must realize that the centuries ahead will bring us an overcrowded country. Opportunities as the population grows larger will be fewer. The competition keener. The competition for bread between the people of their own class will become keener. And so much more so will there be no room for two competitive races, the one strong and the other weak. To imagine Negroes as district attorneys, judges, senators, congressmen, assemblymen, aldermen, government clerks and officials, artisans and laborers at work while millions of white men starve is to have before you the bloody picture of wholesale mob violence that I fear and against which I am working. No preaching, no praying, no presidential edict will control the passion of hungry, unreasoning men of prejudice when the hour comes. It will not come, I pray, in our generation, but it is of the future that I think, and for which I work. A generation of ambitious Negro men and women out from the best colleges, universities, and institutions capable of filling the highest and best positions in the nation, in industry, commerce, society, and politics. Can you keep them back? If you do so, they will agitate and throw your Constitution in your faces. Can you stand before civilization and deny the truth of your Constitution? What are you going to do then? You who are just will open the door of opportunity and say to all and sundry, enter in. But ladies and gentlemen, what about the mob, that starving crowd of your own race? Will they stand by, suffer and starve, and allow an opposite competitive race to prosper in the midst of their distress? If you can conjure these things up in your mind, then you have the vision of the race problem of the future in America. There is but one solution, and that is to provide an outlet for Negro energy, ambition, and passion away from the attractions of white opportunity and surround the race with opportunities of its own. If this is not done, and if the foundation for same is not laid now, then the consequence will be sorrowful for the weaker race and disgraceful to our ideals of justice and shocking to our civilization. The Negro must have a country and a nation of his own. If you laugh at the idea, then you are selfish and wicked, for you and your children do not intend that the Negro shall discommode you in yours. If you do not want him to have a country and a nation of his own, if you do not intend to give him equal opportunities in yours, then it is plain to see that you mean that he must die, even as the Indian, to make room for your generations. Why should the Negro die? Has he not served America and the world? Has he not borne the burden of civilization in this Western world for 300 years? Has he not contributed of his best to America? Surely all this stands to his credit, but there will not be enough room. And the one answer is, find a place. We have found a place. It is Africa. And as black men for 3 centuries have helped white men build America, surely generous and grateful white men will help black men build Africa. And why shouldn't Africa and America travel down the ages as protectors of human rights and guardians of democracy? Why shouldn't black men help white men secure and establish universal peace? We can only have peace when we are just to all of mankind. And for that peace and for the reign of universal love, I now appeal to the soul of white America. Let the Negroes have a government of their own. Don't encourage them to believe that they will become social equals and leaders of the whites in America, without first, on their own account, proving to the world that they are capable of evolving a civilization of their own. The white race can best help the Negro by telling him the truth, and not by flattering him into believing that he is as good as any white man without first proving the racial, national, constructive metal of which he is made. Stop flattering the Negro about social equality and tell him to go to work and build for himself. Help him in the direction of doing for himself. And let him know that self-progress brings its own reward. I appeal to the considerate and thoughtful conscience of white America, not to condemn the cry of the Universal Negro Improvement Association for a nation in Africa for Negroes, but to give us a chance to explain ourselves to the world. White America is not too big, and when informed and touched too liberal to turn down the cry of the awakened Negro for a place in the sun. Now that appears to be the end of that, although it ends kind of oddly. Yes, let's see. Yeah, I think that is the end of that piece. It's kind of odd the way it continues on because it goes on to another piece here, but this one doesn't have a heading to it like the other ones did. So that one is kind of strange. Oh, I see. So that was part one, an appeal to the soul of white America. And then there are other pieces that follow. Okay. So I think I have just enough time to read one more and then we'll close out. Racial reforms and reformers. Who thinks of the poor but the poor? The rich and self-satisfied are too busily engaged in the enjoyment of their own pleasures and the patronage of their own class to halt to any great extent to give the underdogs of human society a thought that would help them rise above their condition. The missionary work that is being done to lift the unfortunate to the height of a new social order is surrounded with hypocrisy and professionalism. Hence, its usefulness is not seen or felt among those to be served. As in the struggle to lift the unfortunate poor, we have no real honest effort. So, in the struggle of race to find a place in the affairs of the world, we get very little, if any, sympathy and encouragement from the progressive and the successful. There is a vast difference between the white and black races. The two are at extremes. One is dazzlingly prosperous and progressive. The other is abjectly poor and backward. The fight is to lift the backward and non-progressive to the common standard of progress and civilization. But apparently no appreciable number of the prosperous and progressive desire this change. The selfishness of class and monopoly of standing seem to dictate a prejudice of race that creates a barrier to the accepted Christian belief that all men are brothers and a God is our common Father. In this conflict of life, each human being finds a calling. Some of us are called to be preachers, ministers of the gospel, politicians, statesmen, industrialists, teachers, philosophers, laborers, and reformers as well. To the reformer above all falls the duty or obligation of improving human society, not to the good of the selfish few, but to the benefit of the greatest number. So I will leave off right about there. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see a button depicted on the screen right about now, Africa for the Africans. In short, that is the message that Garvey had, Africa for the Africans. When he said that, he didn't necessarily mean that all Africans of the diaspora should return to Africa willy-nilly. But what he was saying is that we need to focus on Africa and do what we can to strengthen our homeland, our motherland, so that our motherland could provide us with strength no matter what part of the globe we live in as well. So that's all for today. We will bid you tutal nana and be black tonight at 9 p.m. This is Doc Ock signing off. Doc Ock at noon and 9 signing off. Keep in mind that we always ask you to do a couple things right at the end. Number one, give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. Number two, give us a thumbs up if you're watching on. Give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. And last but not least, go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel. Peace out without a doubt. With justice, of course, because anything less is something that disgusts. And we need our justice, but we don't need to be disgusted. Peace out now.